I need to tell you something that might sting a little, but I promise it comes from a place of experience and truth. For years, I thought I was winning at life because I was a smart shopper. Every time I walked into a store and saw those red tags screaming discounts at me, I felt like I had found treasure. 50% off here, buy two, get one free there, clearance sales everywhere. I genuinely believed I was doing something right. I believed I was being responsible with my money. But here is what nobody tells you about discount shopping, and this is the part that hurts. I was broke, not because I did not have a job or because I was not earning decent money. I was broke because I had fallen into a trap that millions of people fall into every single day. The discount shopping lifestyle. And the worst part is that I did not even know I was trapped until it was almost too late. Let me take you back to where this all started because maybe you will see yourself in my story. I grew up watching people around me hunt for deals like it was a sport. Coupons were clipped religiously every Sunday morning. Black Friday was treated like a national holiday in my household, and anytime someone got something for less than the original price, they wore it like a badge of honor. So naturally, I adopted the same mindset. I thought being frugal meant always looking for the cheapest option. I thought being smart with money meant never paying full price for anything. And I thought saving money meant buying things when they were on sale. But here is the brutal truth I learned the hard way. None of that was actually true. Let me ask you something right now, and I want you to be completely honest with yourself. How many times have you bought something you did not plan to buy simply because it was on sale? How many times have you walked into a store for one specific item and walked out with a bag full of things you did not need? How many times have you justified a purchase by saying it was too good of a deal to pass up? If you are nodding your head right now, then you know exactly what I am talking about, because I did all of those things constantly. I would go to the grocery store for milk and bread and somehow end up spending $60 on items I had no plan for. Why did I buy 3 bottles of salad dressing when I already had 2 at home? Because they were buy one, get one free, and I convinced myself I was saving money. Why did I purchase a jacket I never wore? Because it was 70% off and it felt like I would regret not getting it. Why did I own 4 different kitchen gadgets that collected dust in my cabinets? Because they were on clearance and seemed like smart investments at the time. This pattern continued for years, and I never questioned it because everyone around me was doing the same thing. But then something happened that forced me to wake up. I was sitting at my kitchen table one evening going through my bank statements, and I noticed something disturbing. My account balance was embarrassingly low even though I had just gotten paid 2 weeks earlier. I started going through every transaction trying to figure out where all my money went. And what I discovered made me feel sick to my stomach. There were dozens of small purchases scattered throughout the month. $10 here for something on sale at the drugstore, $20 there for a deal I found online, $15 for clearance items at the department store. Individually, none of these purchases seemed significant. But when I added them all up, I had spent hundreds of dollars on things I did not need and honestly did not even want. That was my wake-up moment. That was when I realized that my discount shopping lifestyle was not saving me money at all. It was keeping me poor. And the most frustrating part was that I had been doing this to myself while genuinely believing I was being financially responsible. So I started digging deeper into why this was happening. Why was I so drawn to discounts even when I did not need what was being sold? Why did seeing a sale sign trigger something in my brain that made me feel like I had to act immediately? And that is when I learned about the psychology behind discounts and how retailers use it to manipulate consumer behavior. Discounts create a sense of urgency that bypasses your rational thinking. When you see limited time offer or only 3 left in stock, your brain shifts into panic mode. You stop thinking about whether you actually need the item. You stop considering whether you have space for it or whether it fits into your budget. All you can think about is that you might miss out on a good deal. And that fear of missing out is more powerful than the fear of wasting money. Retailers know this. They have spent millions of dollars researching human psychology to figure out exactly how to get you to spend more. The red sale tags, the countdown timers on websites, the exclusive member discounts. All of it is carefully designed to trigger emotional responses that lead to impulse purchases. And I had been falling for it my entire adult life. But knowing the problem was only the first step. I still had to figure out how to break free from this cycle. And let me tell you, it was not easy because I was fighting against years of conditioning and deeply ingrained habits. The first thing I had to do was get brutally honest with myself about my spending patterns. I started tracking every single purchase I made for an entire month. Not just the big expenses, but every little thing. The coffee I grabbed because it was happy hour pricing. The socks I bought because they were 3 pairs for the price of 2. The book I purchased because it was on the bargain table. Everything went into a spreadsheet. And at the end of that month, I sat down and went through each item with one simple question. Did I actually need this, or did I buy it because it was on sale? The results were shocking. More than 60% of my purchases were things I would not have bought if they were not discounted. 60%. That meant that the majority of my spending was driven not by necessity or even genuine desire, but by the illusion of saving money. That realization hit me hard, but it also gave me clarity. I knew exactly what I needed to change. So I created a new rule for myself, and this rule became my foundation for breaking free from the discount shopping trap. The rule was simple but powerful. If it is not on my list, I do not buy it regardless of how good the deal is. This meant I had to start planning my purchases in advance. Before I went to any store or browsed any website, I made a list of exactly what I needed, and I committed to only buying those specific items. It sounds simple, and honestly it is. But simple does not mean easy. The first few times I went shopping with this new rule, it felt like torture. I would see amazing deals on things I did not plan to buy, and every fiber of my being wanted to grab them. My brain would start rationalizing, but this is such a good price and I might need it eventually. But I could give this as a gift for someone later. But what if it is not on sale next time I actually need it? All of these thoughts would flood my mind trying to convince me to break my rule, but I forced myself to stick to it. I would literally repeat to myself out loud, if it is not on the list, I do not buy it. And you know what happened? Something amazing. Every time I walked away from a discount I did not need, I felt stronger. I felt more in control. I felt like I was finally the one making decisions about my money instead of letting sales and marketing tactics make those decisions for me. And the financial results started showing up quickly. Within the first month of following this rule, I had more money left in my account at the end of the pay period than I had seen in years. Not because I was earning more, but because I was spending less on things that did not matter. I was no longer hemorrhaging money on small impulse purchases that added up to massive amounts. But the benefits went beyond just having more money in my account. I also noticed that my living space became less cluttered. I was not bringing home random items that I had no use for. I was not accumulating things just because they were cheap. My closet was not overflowing with clothes I never wore. My kitchen cabinets were not packed with gadgets I never used. Everything I owned had a purpose because I had intentionally chosen to bring it into my life. This shift also changed how I thought about value. I used to equate value with price. If something was cheap, I thought it was a good value. But I learned that real value has nothing to do with how much something costs. Real value is about how much use and satisfaction you get from something. $50 item that you use every day and brings you joy is infinitely more valuable than a $5 item that sits unused in a drawer. Once I understood this, my entire relationship with money transformed. I stopped chasing discounts and started investing in quality. I stopped buying multiple cheap versions of things and started saving for one good version. I stopped making decisions based on what was on sale and started making decisions based on what I actually needed and valued. Now I want to be clear about something because I do not want you to misunderstand my message. I'm not saying you should never buy anything on sale. I'm not saying discounts are inherently evil or that you should always pay full price for everything. What I am saying is that discounts should not be the driving force behind your purchasing decisions. You should buy things because you need them or because they genuinely add value to your life. And if those things happen to be on sale when you are ready to buy them, then great. That is a legitimate savings. But buying something you do not need just because it is cheap is not saving money. It is wasting money, and that distinction is critical. So let me give you some practical steps you can take starting today if you want to break free from the discount shopping lifestyle. First, start tracking your spending for at least 1 month. Write down every purchase and be honest about whether it was planned or impulse-driven. Second, before you buy anything, ask yourself, would I buy this at full price? If the answer is no, then you do not really want it and you should not buy it even on sale. Third, create a waiting period for non-essential purchases. If you see something you want, wait 24 hours before buying it. You will be surprised how often the urge to buy disappears once the initial excitement wears off. Fourth, unsubscribe from promotional emails and avoid browsing stores when you do not need anything. You cannot be tempted by deals you do not see. Fifth, focus on building savings and investments instead of accumulating stuff. The satisfaction of watching your savings grow will far outweigh the temporary thrill of getting a discount. And finally, remember that financial freedom is not about deprivation. It is about intention. It is about making conscious choices with your money instead of letting emotions and marketing tactics control you. Looking back now, I can see how much time and money I wasted chasing discounts that did not serve me. But I also know that everything I learned through that experience has made me financially stronger and more disciplined. I no longer feel anxious about money because I know exactly where every dollar is going. I no longer feel the need to justify my purchases to myself or anyone else. And I no longer measure my worth or my intelligence by how good of a deal I can find. The discount shopping lifestyle kept me poor not because discounts themselves are bad, but because I let them control my behavior and cloud my judgment. Breaking free was one of the best decisions I ever made, and if you are stuck in the same cycle I was, I hope my story gives you the courage to make a change. Your financial future is too important to be dictated by sale signs and clearance racks. Take control starting today.